Okay, I'm recording. Which is the second thing. All the classes are going to be recorded. I will post the recordings. The after my third class, I've got three classes back to back to back. So by like 2 o'clock, they'll be recorded. The video will be posted on YouTube, and then I'll have an audio version as well. If you just want to download it to your phone and listen to it while you're driving down the highway, good luck with that. You have that option. If you miss a class, you are responsible for listening to the recording, catching up on what you missed. For you online people, you're responsible for watching the lectures or listening to the lectures because you're going to be responsible for that material because there's going to be stuff I'm sure Ben's going to talk about that's not in the book. And there's stuff in the book that Ben's not going to talk about, or Mr. Castillo, however he wants to be called. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Okay. So you need to keep up with the recordings, and it's better to go ahead and keep up with them as they go so you can chew on it for a couple of days and think about it and that kind of stuff instead of you online people waiting 4 weeks and then trying to cram 16 hours worth of recordings in the night before the test to try to clear. And Blackboard, theoretically, I got an email a few minutes ago that they've got it fixed theoretically. So hopefully by noon today, or maybe like 2 o'clock today, the fix is going to show up and things will start showing up in Blackboard. I'm sorry. Like, I had everything ready to go, but then things didn't show up in Blackboard Friday afternoon, and then she didn't check her email all weekend, and I was like, you're killing me. I'm trying to give it online people an extra 2 days and nothing. But anyway, that's it for now. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Ben Castile of Virginia Highlands Community College. Welcome aboard.
Hello, everyone. How are y'all doing today?
Good.
Well, hey, I just wanted to start off with kind of a round of introductions because even though we're doing this kind of odd format, still want to get to know everyone a little bit and see where you guys are coming from in terms of your plant science. So I'll go ahead and start off, and you can kind of figure out how to address this. Again, my name is Ben Castile, and I teach here at Virginia Highlands Community College. We're in the far southwest corner of Virginia, right on the border of Tennessee. And I actually teach horticulture regularly here at the community college, and we also have a greenhouse on campus. So that's kind of my main hat, but we are also working on creating an ag program, which we do not currently have one, but we're working on making a kind of hopefully a cross-college kind of consortium of agriculture. And this is kind of the first step in that direction. Anyway, wanted to share with you a little bit about my experience. Last year, I graduated from Virginia Tech with a master's in agriculture and life sciences, and that was really required for me to keep my job here at Virginia Highlands as a full-time instructor of horticulture. So that's my, I guess, the pinnacle of my educational experience. However, I've got a lot of practical experience as well. Long before I started, I was actually a student here at Virginia Highlands Community College in the horticulture program, and I worked in the industry doing a little bit of landscaping and greenhouse work. I'm a self-proclaimed plant nerd, so anything you guys want to know about plants, I'll do my best to answer any questions. Specifically, edible plants are kind of my main focus, and other useful plants. So really in that realm, but I've got experience in, ornamental horticulture and pasture grasses, kind of all around. So I went to community college, got my associates, and then I desired to learn a little bit more. I was kind of tired of doing the landscaping thing. The company that I worked for here in Abingdon, it's called Simply Natural. We did kind of more native plant landscaping. And I became a foreman after I got my associate's degree here at Virginia Highlands, but that just wasn't enough. I had a desire to learn more. So I ended up going back to school in Arizona this time in a place called Prescott College, about halfway in between Phoenix and Flagstaff. Because I figured if you can learn how to grow plants in the desert, then you can probably grow them anywhere. Well, that's probably not always true, actually, because every place has its own significant problems and issues that makes growing a challenge anywhere in the world. So actually, what I studied there was agroecology. And the reason I went to Prescott was because they had an undergraduate program in plant breeding. So that's something that I've been working on for a few years, trying to get more into the breeding realm. I got a bachelor's there, and then I moved back to Virginia and started a business. It was kind of a mixed business model, and it was I don't think really the area was not quite ready for it yet. We did edible landscaping, and on the side we also sold produce at the local area farmers market. Kind of organically grown, but not certified organic. So we did a lot of that. Also, first got into livestock there as well, and we just had some animals just for personal consumption, but we did sell meat, birds, chickens, as well as for eggs. We had laying hens as well as some broilers too. So really got kind of into the pasture grass there, and I've been consulting with a few friends on cattle farms in the area as well on pasture grasses, wheat, and whatnot. Of course, making it in agriculture is not easy, as I'm sure many of you have probably learned if you have worked in the industry. And if I can give you guys one piece of advice, if you're an entrepreneur yourself, don't ever go into business with a friend because they won't stay your friend. I learned that the hard way, and fortunately, as soon as that, as our kind of business model, we called it Appalachian Wildside, as it came to a head, this job at the community college happened to open up, which required me to go back to school to get my master's. So that kind of brings us up to today. And I've been teaching here at the community college. This is my 5th year teaching full-time. I did a little bit of adjunct work before that. And I just really love plants and love working with them really in any setting. So although my main thing is kind of more greenhouse and field crop production, I'm really still interested in pasture grasses and I mean really any part of the industry. I really want to kind of custom tailor this class to what your all's interests are. So let's kind of go around the room, or around the rooms, I should say, and we'll talk to each of you and let you kind of introduce yourselves. Some of you guys that are sitting in the back, you might have to move up or get a little bit closer to the microphone for us to hear you. So let's start there at Southside with Tom's room. Who do we have there?
Peasville.
Peasville. Just tell us your name and kind of what your interests are. The screen should sort of shift to you so everyone can see you.
That's what I'm working on.
We got a backup there.
Oh, no, just adjusting. Okay. Colton, go ahead.
What are we talking about? What we like?
Yeah, who you are, what you're about, what you're interested in, why are you here?
I'm Colton, and I like everything about farming. Yeah.
You have any experience on the farm, Colton?
Yeah, we raise goats at the house.
Cool.
Really, the big ones or the little pygmy goats?
The big ones.
Oh, cool. I might have to take a couple of them home with me one day. I just put up a fence for some goats, and all I need is the goats. We got some bamboo and junk that need to be cleared off, and that's the way to do it.
So goat farming, that's an interesting field of agriculture. What are you using the goats for? Is that for dairy goats? Or are you for meat or?
Meat goats.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you guys slaughter them yourselves, or do you take them to a plant?
Oh yeah, we do it ourselves.
Cool. So are you doing like a direct sale model, or?
No, we just raise them and
Yeah.
sell them. Yeah, it's just like whatever, you know.
You guys you're selling them though. You're
Yeah,
not
yeah,
just eating them yourselves.
You'll sell them live, sell them processed,
yeah.
cut up. Okay. You'll just sell them however to whoever, whenever, huh?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, good to meet you, Colton. Who's next?
I'm Coley. Here to go into the forestry program eventually.
Okay, cool. Coley getting into forestry, so you're a little bit more into trees now?
Well, yeah, and I worked on a farm for 4 years too. So
Uh-huh.
broiler chickens, laying chickens.
Laying hens. So in the forestry scene, that's what you're wanting to get into? So forestry is kind of an interesting way to go as well, because you're not just in the production of forest crops, but also the removal of them as well, right? So, well, good. Welcome to the class. It's good to meet you guys.
Are you planning on like transferring to tech? Okay, cool. Which
Virginia Tech's got a great forestry program.
Yes, they do. And I started investigating if we can do a forestry program here. It might be a while before we can do it, but I'm actually looking into it. So, not that I want things to go sideways for you, but just if things do, here's hoping.
Another one of those really diverse areas where, I mean, there's so many different ways to go about forestry. All right, well, I'm just going to kind of go over to the next campus. And Tom, it's a CHR class. Where are they at?
That's Christiana. That's the Alberta classroom.
Alberta. So you guys in Alberta, so one of you guys go ahead and say something. Let's see if we can hear you.
Check. Check.
All right, well, that works.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, we can hear you guys. So you guys are good there. Who wants to start?
I'll go first. So my name is Wyatt Smith, and I'm kind of like you. I'm really big into plants, specifically the cannabis, but I know that might not be covered much here. But I'm just into, like you are, basically just how plants grow, how to develop them faster, which ways we can breed different types of the same plant and stuff like that. And I've done a couple landscaping jobs here and there.
Cool. Well, welcome, Wyatt. Yeah, I always have at least one student that is, wanting to go into cannabis production. And I mean, let's face it, guys, it's a huge industry. And although it is, not currently legal in Virginia, I would imagine that at some point.
That's what I say. I mean, better be ahead of the curve now than wait until it is.
Sure. And, another thing about that, I should rephrase that, because cannabis itself is legal, just not, marijuana.
Right.
Hemp became legal just a few years ago for production in Virginia, and there's actually right now in Bristol, the town closest to me. Any race fans out there?
I was going to ask.
Yeah, they just had a NASCAR race there this weekend. But they're actually seeking a permit to produce hemp to extract one of the oils to sell for medicinal uses. And that's happening several places in the state right now.
What, CBD?
Yep, CBD.
Yeah.
Which it's fascinating because
Well, and that's what I say. The plant itself is, you could have a whole class on that.
yeah, that's true. That we could definitely have a whole class devoted to it.
You know what? There's sativa, indica, ruderalis. There's many different species of it.
Yeah, and I guess the hemp version usually is that Cannabis ruderalis. They're growing it not for production of THC, but for the fibers.
It's a very versatile plant too.
Extremely versatile. So
yeah. The first Ford Model Ts were built out of.
Yeah, I heard about that. That's kind of crazy to think about. It's like anyway, I mean, cannabis is one of those. There's a lot of politics associated with many plants, not just the cannabis plant. But I think at some point we'll probably see it become a commodity. So, well, welcome, Wyatt. We might talk a little bit about cannabis, but we're not going to be going deep.
That's what I mean. I'm not just interested in that. I also, like you said, I like what kind of plant there too. Like learning about anything related to that.
Awesome. All right. Well, who's next over there?
I'm Kerry Parrish. I grew up on a farm. I still live in Douglas, about 15 minutes up the road. Like Tom said, I live on the Parrish Pumpkin Patch, which they came to last year. My brother just finished up the ag program here, and he's at Tech now. That's what I plan on doing too. So, yep.
Very good. And Tom was mentioning that you guys will be taking a field trip to one of your all's farms.
Yeah, that's me. We have a pumpkin patch we do every October.
Cool. So you guys have already kind of started to embrace the agritourism a little bit then, huh?
Yeah. It grows more and more every year. I think last year we had like 5,000 people come in through the whole month.
That's great.
Yep.
If you had to guesstimate, what would you say, what kind of percentage of the kind of farm business is that pumpkin patch?
Well, for us, we grow corn, soybeans. They're mainly our top two, but we grow those throughout the year. But we start growing the pumpkins in I think late June.
Which I tried to get his mother last year or the year before. I tried to get some kind of numbers out of her for a percentage, but she was being pretty coy about it. But it is a significant amount of their income is coming from the tourism.
Yeah.
I mean, it ain't half of it, ain't 2/3 of it, but I mean, it's still it's important enough that they keep sinking time and effort and resources in it.
Yeah, I think agritourism, and you could look at that as agritourism or maybe not. I mean, it just kind of depends on what your perspective is on that particular crop. But Virginia Tech Pamplin College of Business has been conducting studies in agritourism, and they're saying that right now it's already a multi-billion-dollar industry, or at least in terms of economic activity. So it's huge. Let's move on to the other gentleman over there. I guess on your side would be on the right. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, guys.
I'm Logan Owen. I hope one day to pursue a degree in agribusiness, to live on a farm, mostly in California.
Awesome. Well, welcome. And you, sir, last one.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, Berkeley, did you introduce yourself?
My name is Berkeley. I currently live on a farm in Jarrett, which is about 10 miles north of Emporia. I've always been interested in farming and landscaping, and currently have my own lawn care business.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I mean, lawn care, I mean, everybody needs it somewhere, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, welcome, you guys. Good to make your acquaintance. Let's move over to Emporia. Is that Yusuf?
Yusuf, yes.
Well, go ahead and introduce yourself, Yusuf.
My name is Yusuf Muhammad. My family has a 66-acre farm with 2 chicken houses on it. And we weren't planning to get it. It just sort of happened.
Yeah.
So we figured it would be best to learn about how to farm and stuff so we can do something with all that land.
Awesome. So the houses are empty now?
They're empty now. We actually just went through a flock of chickens.
Okay.
I believe it's 19,000.
Oh, wow. So those meat birds then?
Yes.
Cool. Well, welcome, Yusuf. So that's an interesting take on it. I mean, plants, everything eats plants, right? So no matter what area of agriculture you're in, plant science comes into play. And finally, let's move over to, is it South Boston? Megan, right?
Yes, sir. My name is Megan. We have a family farm in Scottsburg down in this area. It's probably about 45 minutes away from South Boston, 30 minutes roughly. I'm most interested into the livestock side, but of course you need to know about the pasture. And we raise tobacco, corn, wood beans, a lot of row crops. We have a large garden every year. And I'm a 7-year FFA member, so working on my American degree now. So
Awesome. Well, then I think everybody in here is a future farmer, right? Whether you were associated with FFA or not. But just can we get a show of hands? How many people were associated with FFA? Yeah, quite a few of you. That's very good. Welcome, Megan. Welcome, everybody. Glad to make your all's virtual acquaintance. Let's get down to business. We don't have too much time left. We've got about 15 minutes. So this is my first time doing a distance course, especially in this format with the video conferencing. So you have to bear with me a little bit. I'm going to kind of give you guys just a little overview today, real quick, of agriculture in Virginia, which of course it depends on, it's different for every county. But can anybody tell me what the largest industry in Virginia is?
my guess is tobacco.
Well, even more general than that, though. Not tobacco is a part of. You're all in the program. It's agriculture, right? Yeah, agriculture is by far the #1 industry in Virginia. And Megan mentioned tobacco, which of course tobacco was the #1 cash crop in Virginia for, gosh, probably centuries, really. Virginia was the #1 tobacco producer in the world there in the 1700s, of course, and probably into the 1900s as well. However, when the tobacco buyout occurred, it kind of shifted Virginia's agriculture scene. So anybody want to guess what the #1, in terms of cash receipts, the #1 part of Virginia agriculture is today? Anybody? Somebody just guess.
You mean cash crops, right?
Yeah.
You say cash crops, right? So like corn?
Corn is actually #8. Good guess, though. Thank you, Yusef. Anybody else want to guess? #1 agriculture crop in Virginia? Soybeans are #7. Sorry, guys. I've got the cheat sheet here I'm looking at. So any other guesses? Well, I'll tell you what, in our area, I live, again, Southwest Virginia. We're in a mountainous region, so we don't have a lot of the arable land. We don't have a ton of really flat land that is easily cultivated. So our #1 industry is cattle and calves in Southwest Virginia, but that is not #1 in the state of Virginia. In fact, it's actually far from it. Who wants to guess what #1 is? Oh, go for it. Colton? Or Coley, sorry. Oh, sorry, I thought you had your hand raised.
Is it trees?
It's not trees. You know, forestry products don't even make the top 20, believe it or not. And these numbers they come from a study done by University of Virginia, their economic division. So is everybody, you guys giving up? Yusef, you want to guess? Guess again?
Tomatoes?
Another good guess, but No, sorry. It's number 16 is tomatoes. So number 1, believe it or not, are you ready? Any last minute guesses?
Basil.
It's broilers. You got it. Did you already say that? I'm sorry, I might not have heard you.
Basil.
No, Coley said it, but not very loudly.
Okay.
He wasn't committed to his answer.
Well, you got it, Coley. And I'm going to try out this screen share thing just to see if this works. I'm just going to show you this kind of farm facts and figures brochure that came from this study. Let's see if we can get it up here. Bear with me here. I'm new to this. All right. Well, you guys see that?
I see it.
See the brochure?
Yep.
All right. So that's Virginia's top 20 agricultural commodities. Number 1, broilers at $7.3 million. Or sorry, $733 million. That's got my zeros off a little bit there. I think this is a fascinating brochure. I mean, it's just a lot of facts put together. But you can find this at VDAC's website, and that's Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. A few kind of startling facts here that I wanted to point out for you guys. Of course, I mean, just the top 20 commodities. Would you all have expected that? That really there isn't a plant up there in the top 20 other than, I mean, or at least in the top 5 until you get to greenhouse and nursery crops. So this is really what we kind of are referring to as the horticulture industry. But of course, number 1 through 4, all of those are supported by plants. Also look at some of these facts over here. And this is one that I find extremely startling and somewhat dismaying. The typical Virginia farmer is 59.5 years old. If you looked at this brochure last time they did it, which I think was, I want to say 2016 or 17, that figure was 57. So what does that mean? It means that the average age is on the rise. There are more older farmers, less younger farmers. And that really goes to say that there's actually going to be a lot of turnover in farms in the coming decades. Has anyone ever heard of Joel Salatin by chance? Just raise your hand if you have. Well, I recommend maybe checking him out, especially those of you that are interested in livestock. He's a very unique farmer in Shenandoah Valley, and he does broilers and cattle calf operation as well. Saw him speak recently, and he said that he believes that in the coming decades there will be more land turning hands than ever before in American history. So that means there's a lot of opportunity for people like you.
And what was his name again?
Joel Salatin. And at some point, I'll put up on our Blackboard site some information, some helpful links to some unique farmers in Virginia. Another kind of startling figure down here at the bottom, less than 16 cents of every consumer dollar spent on food actually goes to the farmer. So think about that, 16% of $1 actually goes to the farmer. And I think we're going to be seeing that shift a lot, I believe. And that's because if we look at these commodities, a lot of them are, controlled by middlemen. But we're seeing a shift, a big shift in that, we're going to see more people doing direct-to-consumer sales. It doesn't mean everybody has to do that, and I mean, no, not everyone will, but it's a big rise in a change in consumer tourism in agriculture. There's a lot more information here about agriculture in Virginia and the diversity of it. It's a good little pamphlet. I'll put this up on Blackboard as well right after we get off.
I actually already did.
Oh, Tom's on it. He already put it up for us.
Blackboard is working now. Everybody is in it, so you should be able to see. Then I posted it in the web links area.
Great. And another startling thing here, and we've seen this in the news lately with President Trump talking about the tariffs and whatnot. Look at the top agricultural export markets, and that's pretty big. $691 million in agricultural exports from us are going to China.
And it just went up from we were at 7% from beef, and it went up to 40% in the past year.
That's crazy.
A crazy number if you think about it. Because
yeah, I mean, that's huge. It
went from some 2-digit million number to 400 million or something like that.
Yeah.
All
right. Well,
we took excuse me. We took a group of students to the governor's conference on agricultural trade back in the spring, and that was right when President Trump announced the aluminum and steel tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
Back when that got going, and we had Sonny Perdue. No, not Sonny Perdue. We had the Assistant Secretary of Agriculture there, and then we had the head of Purdue Farms there. That's all anybody was talking about, was how these steel and aluminum tariffs were going to end up impacting agriculture, because that's what China was going to be hitting back on. And so that number may have really grown, but the worry is that number is going to get slammed and slammed hard. And that's why they announced that 12 trillion.
But that's probably why it went up so high. They were buying it.
Yeah. And for soybeans, which I don't know if I'm stepping on your toes there, soybeans are the number one thing that we send to China.
Yeah.
When it comes to crops. And so we're not sending anywhere near the soybeans to China as of a couple of months ago. So the American producers are left with a whole bunch of leftover soybeans. So what do you think it's going to happen to the price? It's going to go down, and it's going to go down dramatically. So then what's ended up happening is a bunch of producers in companies in Brazil and Argentina have been saying, woohoo, cheap American soybeans, and they've been coming up and they've been buying our cheap American soybeans to be doing whatever they're going to be doing with them. So at least we've got a market that those soybeans are getting sold, but the producers, whatever, are getting nowhere near the money that they were going to get, because it's kind of a fire sale kind of thing. And so that's what I can't remember, it's 12 trillion, probably $12 billion funds that the Trump administration is setting aside to help smooth out that speed bump for farmers.
Yeah.
And I mean, that, like I say, that was all anybody was asking about the whole time, was what was going on with the trade impact the whole time.
It's pretty crazy. I mean, it goes to show that agriculture is it's a complex industry, and it's always changing, it's always moving. So it's very important for you guys to keep up with the times. All right, we're about out of time, so I just wanted to throw a couple of things at you guys real quick. First, the book. Who's got the book? Looks like almost everyone's got the book. That's great. Colton's holding it up there for us, or held it up. It is Plant Science 5th edition, and hopefully I'm not doing a disservice here to the college, but I would really recommend probably finding that book online. It's a lot cheaper.
Amen.
Is that bad to say, Tom? Am I?
Oh, no, I say it all the time. I've gone to open education books as much as humanly possible.
Yeah, same here. I rarely use books in my courses anymore, but This was kind of what was already set aside for us, and it is a good book. There's lots of good resources. We'll be putting, actually, I think Tom's already got the PowerPoints from that book on Blackboard. So,
well, 2/3 of them.
2/3 of them anyway, and we'll be reviewing that. You guys might notice that we don't have a syllabus yet, so we'll be putting that up by Wednesday. I do want you guys to do one thing for me, and I'll put an announcement up on Blackboard as well about this. We're going to start a little discussion forum And I want you guys to go onto the forum and tell us what crops you are most interested in. That way we already know what to kind of expand upon when we get to those chapters in the book. But we're going to kind of go through the book, and we'll be doing discussions. So that's your only homework for Wednesday, is just to go onto this discussion forum and go ahead and tell us what crops you're interested in. And I'll put up an example for you all so that you guys know exactly what to put up. Does that sound good, everybody? All right, well, it's 10:20, and I believe that is class time. Is that correct, Tom?
Yep.
So I'll let you guys go, but does anybody have any last-minute questions? Comments, concerns, gripes, or grievances?
Yep. Why did you let one of the Kurt brothers win the race? Seriously. I mean, one of the Bush brothers. Kurt even just, I mean, seriously.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't have any control over that. I tried to stop him, but
Yeah. I don't know. I gave up on NASCAR a couple of years ago, but some friends of mine went to the race. Oh, well.
Well, hey, it's great to meet you all. We'll see you again Wednesday morning.
Okay, and hopefully the connection issues will be smoother. Okay.
All right, signing off. You guys have a great day. We'll see you guys Wednesday.
Okay. Bye.